Hello, 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 everybody. I am Stephanie D. Sanders, and you are watching Movers and Shakers. I'm over here talking to the people that are making moves and shaking a little bit with it while they do that. I wanted to have on here today, excuse me, a gentleman I had met. I don't even know how long it's been. We'll have to probably chit chat about that. But he has such a unique style. He's a designer and he's a couple other things, and we'll let him tell you more about that. Welcome to the show, Mr. Carlyle.
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you actually get into the whole designing?
Well, I actually began designing by watching my grandmother sew. And both my grandmothers sewed and were millinery. They made hats. Um, One of my grandmothers was also beautician and cosmetologist.
Mhm.
And I'm going back like 85 years now.
Wow.
My family have been in the fashion, hair, and movie industry and music industry many years. And just by watching my grandmother's make quilts,
Mm.
she was watching as the world turned and made quilts on a Singer sewing machine
Uh,
that pumps. You had to
oh,
pump
with
it
the
with
foot,
your
the,
feet,
oh, the foot pedal.
with the foot pedal. Yes. And, just watching her, take and cut up old clothes, did patchwork, you know,
Hmm.
patch, made patches into quilts.
Mm.
That was the real quilts,
Mm, the
back in the
heavy
day, not
ones.
not going out and buying it, already made up
Yes.
that way,
Yes.
and taking a bed of a roll of cotton, putting in between that, and
Mm.
then put another sheet on top of that, and it made it a quilt.
Wow.
And so just by watching her do that, it kind of inspired me to. I started doing denim,
Hmm. Okay.
and I'm, I'm a modern day Valentino sewing by hand. I love
Mm.
to do it by hand and uh, taking stones and years ago, well, you still wear the button covers,
Hmm.
on your shirt or whatever. But my mom threw away a pair of earrings that the rhinestone earrings after the stem broke. I got that rhinestone earring out of the garbage, put some glue on it, and put it on a button cover and start wearing it at the top of my shirt.
Wow. Like a little
Yeah,
brooch.
thank you. Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
And so everybody wanted started asking me about it, and then they started ordering it. So, that
Wow.
that made me go and find more to do that. And there's so many different things that I started back in high school. I had my own store when I was in the 11th grade
What
back in
kind
high
of
school.
store? Clothing store?
Yes. I started out in Distributed Education Clubs of America, DECA,
Okay.
and I was in I was into music, band, and our parents instilled in us about being musically inclined.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we had an old upright piano in our house. Actually, my grandfather made he built our house in Virginia. I'm originally from Newport News, Virginia,
Okay.
and so we had a old upright piano in the house. My brother actually, my younger brother, he started learning how to play the piano by ear. And then my mother, a friend of hers, was a music teacher, and told my mom, say, "Hey, I'll teach him how to play the piano." So my younger brother began playing the piano, and he's still a musician. He still plays for churches. He played for the Gospel Music Workshop Choir. in Virginia and other conferences as well. But all of us started picking up instruments. I started actually playing the drums. I love make beats.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, we used the chairs, the couch,
Oh, yes.
on the side of the couch and
Oh,
on the top of the couch.
chairs and cans and
Yes, yes.
opposite sides of
Musicians,
bowls.
musicians today, you know, that's how they started out. Ask Teddy Riley about it. He could tell you
Wow.
some of those original beats. Um, he actually had a home in Virginia Beach for years
Hmm.
because everybody used to come down to Virginia
To
to hang out
record.
from New York,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
Virginia had its own thing going on, back
Hmm.
then. I mean, it's numerous recording artists and well-known artists are from Virginia.
Hmm.
I remember when Pharrell Williams first started, we called him Skateboard P.
Okay.
He loved to skate and be on skateboards all the time.
Hmm.
He was from
Hmm.
Virginia Beach.
Hmm.
But getting back to my story, that is being in high school, and I started work for this company called A&N,
Hmm.
which stood for Army and Navy. You know how Dick's Sporting Goods is?
Yes.
They
Yes.
they they got that from A&N stores
Hmm.
because A&N stores was the ones that actually every high school had to have Chuck Taylors,
Hmm.
white sneakers for home games and
Hmm.
black sneakers for away games. They are the one that furnished all the high schools with those sneakers
Hmm. Hmm.
up and down the East Coast. That's the company that I work with. I started
Army
doing
Navy.
visual. Yes, I started
Hmm.
doing uh, visual merchandising and windows in the mall,
Oh,
and I became a visual merchandiser as well. So I was a little ahead of the ahead of the game,
yeah,
far as
you
for
definitely
fashion.
were.
And
Yes.
uh, I used I loved flannel shirts because that was the hot thing, back
Hmm.
then.
Hmm.
Flannel shirts, the painter hats, that everybody wearing baseball caps.
Yes.
Okay, the painter hats was the original caps, that
Hmm.
started all that too.
Hmm.
And so the flannel shirts, I some just told me to cut the collar off the flannel shirt.
Mm.
I created a look with flannel shirts, and it was called bandit collars. The bandit collar shirt with no collar.
Hmm.
I took a razor blade and cut my collar off the shirt
Hmm.
and started buttoning it up at the top like this. We used to rock this look everywhere. Button your collar up all the way.
Hmm.
This was a hot thing doing on the East Coast with the painter hats. And so I, I took the collar off.
Yes.
You have a
See.
bandit collar
Oh
shirt.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I see
Everybody,
it now.
nobody was selling that.
I see
I
it.
started to wear it to school. Everybody wanted one. I went to the store, brought brought a bunch of
More like a
flannel
hundred
shirts,
of them.
flannel shirts, cut the collar off of it, sewed it back.
Wow.
Everybody was ordering like crazy.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so that was something that and then I was doing fashion shows when I was in the 12th grade in high
Hmm.
school. Yes.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then started teaching modeling. Now I'm taking you back to 1972, 73,
Wow.
that far back. I was going to clubs. I wasn't even 21. and doing fashion
getting
shows
in doing fashion shows. You
in the
know
club.
what? You know what? I think we did one at a we did do one at a club here in town. We sure did. And that was the one fashion show that set me up to go to New York for the
So I
IMTA thing.
I spent every summer in New York, coming up and
Man.
coming up because I was in Virginia, but all my cousins and my aunts and my uncle, I had one uncle and four aunties. All of them who lived in New York. My mom was the only one in Virginia.
Oh man.
But my grandmother and my grandfather, we we shared the house with them. But every summer, all my cousins and aunts would come down to visit my grandmother, of course, their mother. And so they would come down to Virginia. And my grandfather and grandmother was originally from Warrington, North Carolina.
Hmm.
That's our family had a lot, still have a lot of land down there. And we had so many family members down there. Uh, one of my cousins was the pastor of St. Stephen's Baptist Church in Warrington, North Carolina. And we have a grave site there too, where my
Mm,
relatives are buried. But my uncles used to bring my cousins down, and they loved to hunt. So they would go to
mm,
the property in North Carolina, but they stopped in Virginia first to visit us. So on the way back during the summertime, as soon as we got out of high school, as soon as the class got out, my mom would send us to New York. you
like
know,
y'all out of here.
so we
Hey.
spent like the whole summer, in New York. I mean, because all my cousins was like in the Bronx.
Hmm.
I'm talking about Brownsville. We were in Manhattan, and then I had my older sister when she graduated. She left and went to City College in New York, and to take up nursing,
Hmm.
and so she stayed in the Bronx, 171st and University, in a high rise on the 14th floor. The balcony we were overlooking. We could see Yankee Stadium and also George
Park.
Washington Bridge.
Oh, okay.
Every summer, I'm in New York. Every summer, I spend every summer
Wow.
in New York. Yes,
Wow.
coming up.
You had the best of both worlds, you know.
So doing the fashion thing, and
Hmm.
I got everybody was like, "Wow, you need to go to New York. Work in New
Hmm.
York." I got hired by Saks Fifth Avenue.
What?
I worked for Saks Fifth Avenue as visual merchandising and in sales, uh, menswear department.
Did you do the
And
windows?
yes, yes. And working there, then they started opening up stores in different cities.
Hmm.
They sent me to Chicago uh, to open up to work in the store there. Then from Chicago, oh, it was cold too. I'm like, I mean, you, but it was beautiful, during the summertime, of course, but the winters, treacherous.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Ooh,
mean,
so it is true.
and oh yeah, and matter of fact, I had a collection back then called Wraps by Carlyle, and they were ponchos,
Mm,
and you know, I would make the fringe myself, and fringe it by hand, I didn't have no machine, I did all that,
wow.
different fabrics, um, I used and those wraps came in handy, because you need a muffler and everything else to wrap yourself because it was so cold,
Right?
and the cold be so treacherous. That's why I call it the Windy City.
Hmm.
I mean,
Ooh.
if you have a tear, by the time the tear got past, near your face on your
Hmm.
nose, it was
Hmm.
frozen. That's how cold,
Wow. That's how
that's how
cold it
cold it was,
was. Wow.
and so I lived in New York. I lived in Chicago.
Hmm.
They for like 2.5 years, and then they decided to open up a store in Cincinnati, Ohio. They sent me, then I started working in Cincinnati, Ohio, because a friend of mine's uh, she graduated from Hampton University, and we were like neighbors and good friends. And so she was living in Cincinnati because they recruited from Hampton University black campuses, to work in Fortune 500 companies.
Hmm.
So she got a job and was recruited to work for Xerox. So
Hmm.
Xerox was based in Cincinnati, and I knew that, you know, that she was there at the time,
Hmm.
and good friend, and so when they uh, was going to open up in Cincinnati, that was my that was my way of getting out of Chicago.
Hmm. Like I got to
Because
go.
I'm from the East Coast. I mean, it's the water and the crabs and
Hmm.
seafood and and it's cool. And it's not as cold.
That's not cold,
So
right?
they sent me to Cincinnati to open up that store, and while in Cincinnati, uh, uh, I got to see the beginning, of Woolly Wear, the black
Wait, where?
designer, Woolly
Oh,
Wear. Yes,
woolly wear.
yes, Willie Smith, and it was called Woolly Wear, and
Hmm.
it was a urban, collection. He was one of the first blacks to have his clothing in Saks Fifth Avenue.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Um, he had it, and then he died, of AIDS, but he was very famous, one of the first blacks, I mean, him and Patrick Kelly, and all of them, was doing their thing, and I was just, it was a proud moment to have a black person to have their clothes in Saks, that was a
Yeah,
big deal.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So being in Cincinnati and then working in the menswear department, um, I began to work with, I opened up my first store uh, in Cincinnati, actually, adjacent to uh, a hair salon.
Hmm.
Uh, Tone Lumpkin, he was one of the very popular hairstylists and worked with major companies, for Jet magazine and
Mm.
the fashion fair, you know,
Yes.
uh,
Project
shows.
Fair is
And
huge.
yes, yes. So they would fly him everywhere, to do different hair shows and all like that. And so we became good friends, working at Saks, and we had so many different companies, that I work with, like Dillard's, J.C. Penney's,
Mm.
I've, visual merchandiser and those companies like that I worked for also. And I got to see behind the scenes, Uh, I don't know if people didn't know, but J.C. Penney's, they got like all different departments in J.C. Penney's. They have a lot of blacks working for them,
Hmm.
a lot of black designers.
Wow.
Every department in that store actually is owned by J.C. Penney's,
Hmm.
whether it was the petite department, but they had different names. I was like, wow, that's ingenious. You still, running the whole show, but people think
Hmm.
they're getting different designers. They'll have
Wow.
different, one or two designers in there, of course, and they brought in other designers that they carry too. But they owned every name that was in the store in every department.
So
That's
it's
how
like
they
a big
control the price
umbrella,
points.
and then everything up under that, they own everything up under that. So it's well, kind of
That's
like
how they
like
could.
a production
That's how they
company.
could discount everything. And and going back and working for Saks at the time, um, I, I wanted to open up my own store, and I did so too, so as well. But I was given an opportunity to work for a tuxedo and gown business
Mm.
through one of my clients at Saks. Her husband owned a tuxedo business, and so it actually was called All About Tuxedos and Gowns. I went to visit them because they needed their windows done, and so I went over and they hired me to do their windows, and so the wife said, "Listen, you need to work for my husband because he's looking for a manager too, you know." And I said, "Well, you know, I'll check it out, you know." And so when I approached him about it, and he said, "No, I can't pay you that kind of money," you know, you know,
I
when
was
I
like,
let him know, I'm not working for chicken feed,
peanuts.
you know what I'm saying? So, I'm good right here, And so after letting her know that I had already talked to him about it, and she said, "No, no." Um, I told her, I said, "Well, he said he can't afford to pay me that, what I was asking for."
She probably was like, oh, yes, he can.
Oh, no, no. She said, "Don't worry about it. No, okay, don't worry about it. Like that. Let me handle it." Then a week later, she told me, she said, "Listen, uh, you got the job."
Wow.
And so I began working for All About Tuxedos and Gowns in downtown Cincinnati on 6th Street, right behind the Federal Building. And we
Mm.
were between um, Procter and Gamble's headquarters and the Federal Building. Chiquita Center was behind us. The Chiquita Center is, you know, the banana people.
Oh,
Their
Chiqui
headquarters,
bananas. Uh-huh.
they were behind us. So
Hmm.
all these big major companies, the Federal Building, and you know, all these major companies was all around us, and the little tuxedo shop was right there between that. And so after 3 years working for him, he was like, "Well, I'm gonna be retiring, you know, and I'm gonna be giving up the business." And so one of our clients were, yeah, I mean, we had everybody come in there, politicians, judges, bankers. So this one banker that was a good client of ours, big guy. I mean, he was like a 54 regular. And we handled everybody. And I mean, from the Bengals, the Reds, everybody. And so this gentleman, he said, "Man, you run this place like you own it." You know, he said, "When you gonna get your own shop?" I said, "When you give me the money."
Mm.
He said, "Well, put a plan together." And at that time, I had found out that he wanted to sell the business. And it was an Italian family. I put my business plan together. Within a week, the gentleman called me from the bank. He was vice president of the bank. He said, "Okay, you got the money." So I let him know I had the money. So I purchased the building. I mean, purchased the company, and it was 500 square footage. It was every. I expanded to 2,000 square footage within 1 month. You had to have a ticket to get into the shop during prime time. It was just so many people was trying to get in because what I carried.
Wow.
And the windows were so big. I got all this on video. All the windows, you could see the whole body of the mannequins. I had like 15 mannequins through in the windows, and you can see it from the street. I had every color tuxedo. I was the first one started this now. Lime green, orange, red. Uh, I wasn't just doing black and gray because back then, after six was just showing black, gray,
Hmm.
white
Hmm. Like a
tuxedos,
charcoal kind of. Yep.
and
Yep.
yeah, yeah, charcoal. And it's, they may mix one little color with it or something, but
You
they
just
visit
popped
the
out.
stores. They visit the stores all the time, the reps. So they had to make sure that your store, stay a standard for after six. And so one day they came to visit. I had changed every mannequin had a button cover on it, not a bow tie, had a
Hmm.
button cover on it. And they said, "What are these?" I said, "I make those." They said, "What? No bow tie?" I said, "Yeah, that's how we rock it."
Hmm.
Everybody wanted. I had button covers coming all the way down the shirt,
Oh,
like six of them. They still doing that now.
wow.
After hours, after six, everybody started showing button covers. I'm an
Wow.
innovator. I'm an innovator in formal wear.
I see that, and I see that we're gonna end up having to do a couple of shows or something because uh, you never really know what people are about until you talk to them. And I was like, okay, this guy
I'm gonna
here
blow
so
you. I'm gonna
interesting.
blow you away. I'm gonna blow you away right quick. I was hired from Saks Avenue to work for Goodwill Industries.
Hmm.
I'm the one that created the color code system and cleaned up their stores to help them with productivity. When you go in
Really?
Goodwill, everything is color code from the light to the dark.
Hmm.
Everything is put, you see the jeans all in sizes now
Yes.
because it'll take you only 15 minutes to go in there and find something that you're looking for. Back
Hmm.
then, it would take you an hour to look for one blouse or one shirt your size. We increased the productivity with Goodwill Industries by helping them clean up the stores. When you go in the stores, they're wearing, we put them in smocks. I
Hmm.
did the displays in the main office, which is in Cincinnati. Their main office was in Cincinnati. And I was working for them and changed the whole look of it. They cleaned, because, you could hire a Goodwill Industry to come in to clean your offices. That's what they did for the Fortune 500 companies in Cincinnati. They
Hmm.
started their own janitorial services. We trained the people how to work, how to be sales, clerks, how to handle the store, how to put out the merchandise, how to clean up the toy department. Every Everyone has departments. I'm the one that helped created that.
Wow. Look, we have probably about 8 minutes left. I already know we definitely gonna have a part two, and I'm already thinking part three of
Hey,
this right here.
it's a
This guy
lot,
here is
I mean,
boy.
because it's don't worry, it's coming out in my book. I'm doing a movie. That's why I moved to Atlanta actually to do more
Hmm.
acting.
Yes.
I'm an actor, and
Hmm.
we're into a whole lot of things. I, of course, I'm in Black Panther. I'm in,
Hmm.
Coming to America right
Hmm.
now. I'm in Captain America, the new Captain America.
Hmm.
Wow, I played Coretta's father, Obadiah Scott, in the Malcolm X.
Is the mouth that's wrong?
And yes, in Martin Luther King, Malcolm X,
Wow.
on Genius, and you could catch me as a detective on Will Trent on ABC.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is why I created this show. So you can get to know these people like this. See, you see all this he has to say, and don't give it all right now, because I know we're gonna have to come back.
Oh,
We're gonna
we could
we,
touch
we're gonna
on it.
we're gonna have to come back.
Durham Fashion Week is coming up June 7th.
Fashion
I'm the
Week is coming
founder
up.
of Durham Fashion Week, New York Fashion Week, September 13th. We'll be in New York. I have my own New York Fashion Week show. We're casted for all these shows.
All right, see, this is what I'm talking about, and I'm gonna have to put my submission in because I need to walk a little bit more. It's been a long time, but I just want to take this time to thank you so much, Mr. Carlyle. We have so much more to talk about, so we will definitely be setting up another time for you to come. I want to hear more about the fashions and things like that. Now you're transitioning into all these fashion week appearances, the acting side of things, and then just inspiring other people and with like minds who want to do even something like what you're doing, or even a portion of what you're doing. So let the people know how they can reach out to you before we kind of cut things off here. Let them know how they can reach out to you and touch bases with you for fashion and or for other business collaborations.
You can reach me on Instagram, I am Mr. Carlyle on Instagram, Facebook, Carlyle E. Williams. That's Carlyle. And just reach out. I mean, you can call us, Mr. Carlisle W at yahoo.com, reaching out, to us, or 470-418-7277 is my direct number. This we got so much going on right now. God has been good to us and is blessing us, we're going to be working on our own production company. We're going to be doing our own movies too. So that's down the pipe. My wife and I, Dr. Kiki Michelle Singletary Williams, she is awesome. I mean, dynamic speaker and award-winning singer-songwriter. So we had to touch on all that too. That's a whole different,
That's a whole different ball.
story.
Oh yes, okay,
You know,
that's all right. That's show number 4. I already got the idea why I need to have both of you on here. So yes, I love it. I love it. I thank you so much for joining me today, though, on this show. And like I said, you guys, we will definitely have him come back for other ones. We got some stuff, you
well,
know.
I commend you for doing and stretching out and doing your thing because you've been doing it for a while, and,
Yes.
and God has blessed you. I mean, what you're doing, I know you're doing all the singing. I know you're doing writing books, and making appearances, but it's just like riding a bike, you still can
Mhm.
model.
Absolutely. Ooh, ooh. Let me shut it down.
Matter of fact, we got a casting today for the upcoming Atlanta Fashion Week.
Let me go ahead and get my video together and submit it. Y'all playing. Let me go ahead and get it together. But
They
thank
call me the
you.
plug, I'm gonna hook you up,
Oh,
I'm the plug.
there we go. And I got the plug over here. I'm just gonna hand it
Okay.
off. Okay.
Thanks
Thank
for
you. Thank you. Thank you.
having me.
You are very welcome. And we will check you all the next time. This is Movers and Shakers. I'm talking to some people out there moving and doing a little bit of shaking. All right. Check you out next time.
God bless.